Haven't we heard enough? Sorry, but this is a topic we need to put to rest. The building of a mosque at the site of the September 11 attacks is a bad idea. This is a subject we have all heard about, but how many of us really know the whole story? And that it's a bad idea not only because of the lack of respect it shows the victims and their families, but for other reasons as well. Now, I feel qualified to speak to you about this subject today because I have done a lot of research on the matter. I want to persuade you that this is a bad idea for three reasons. Number one, it shows a great deal of lack of respect for the victims and their families, because the majority of Americans who have been polled are against the building of this mosque. And also the imam, or Muslim holy man, who is behind the plan, has not only made anti-American comments in the press, but he has also been very sketchy about where the money for this project will come from, which has fueled concern that this may have ties to Muslim extremist organizations. First of all, the lack of respect shown to victims' families. Building a mosque, a Muslim place of worship, blocks from where the towers fell is disrespectful. We should put ourselves in the shoes of the victims' families. How would you feel if you lost your dad or your mom in the attack? Would you want a mosque being built just blocks away from where your mom or dad perished? CNN.com posted this quote from a sister of one of the pilots killed in the attack. She said, quote, "This is nothing short of a provocation, an insult to the families of people who were murdered, whose bodies were scattered all across the state. But it's not just victims' families who are offended. Most Americans are against it too. According to a recent Fox News poll, 70% of Americans say they are against the building of a mosque at the location of the attacks. And in a poll done exclusively of New Yorkers, 71% said they disagreed with the construction and that the builder should voluntarily move it somewhere else. I would like to clarify that no one is against the building of the mosque itself, only the location. But if that's not enough, Faisal Abdul Rauf, the Muslim holy man who is behind the construction of the mosque, is not helping the situation at all. According to website culturemedia.com, Abdul Rauf told 60 Minutes that, quote, "The U.S. is probably, or partially responsible rather, for the 9/11 attacks because of its policies in the Middle East." Also, in an interview with Larry King on CNN, Rauf made threatening-like comments about what would happen if the mosque were to be moved. He said, quote, "If we don't do things the right way, the anger in the Muslim world will explode. If we don't do it correctly, this crisis could become bigger than the Danish cartoon crisis, which resulted in attacks on Danish embassies around the world." Rauf has also refused to disclose where the money to fund the project will come from. In interviews with U.S. media, he has stated that the money will be raised in the U.S. But in an interview with Asharq al-Aswad, a Middle Eastern newspaper, Rauf stated that a good portion of the money would be coming from Middle Eastern nations. This alone has caused a lot of fear in the United States that this project may have ties to Muslim extremist terrorist organizations. I'd like to remind you today that my purpose today was to persuade you that building a mosque near the site of the 9/11 attacks is a bad idea, that this is a subject that we're all somewhat familiar with, but very few of us know the whole story about. And I do feel qualified to speak to you about it because of the fact that I had done exclusive research. And now, you, like me, can raise your hand in the air and say, just say no to the mosque. Thank you very much.